you see arrays of some people sitting down, you first come up and you want to show respect. And when you are talking, within our culture, Yoruba elder can still tell you to sit down. And when they say sit down, you have to sit down. And the same structure that you have, for instance, for OGTV is what you have with the TV, is what you have with PCOS. And he was able to provide that leadership.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, everybody. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to the public lecture series. Can we all, can we mute our microphone, please? We have some background noise. Please kindly mute your microphone. Thank you very much. Would like to welcome you to Corona College of Education public lecture series. Before we start off, we would like to start with the national anthem and the school song back to work. Can we all get ready for the national anthem?
To the Nigerian national anthem, Mr. Albert Congo raises the flag of the new nation.
Nigeria, our own dear native land, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians home and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Corona school anthem. Thank you very much, everybody. Would like to welcome you once more to Corona College of Education public lecture series. And today, our topic for today's public lecture is psychosocial and emotional employment, the mental wellness and career safety. And we are delighted to have our speaker today in the person of Dr. Timi Oyebode, founder and provost Attitude Development International. Also today with us is the chairman of the occasion, person of Professor Mokwelola Olushakin, pioneer director, Safeguarding Center, University of Lagos. It's a pleasure having you. Before we commence into today's activities, I would like to encourage everyone of us to kindly mute our microphones as we take as we recognize our guests. Present with us today in the audience is the president of the chairman Corona Schools Trust Council, Honorable Justice Araide Adebi, the chairman, Governing Council of the Corona College of Education, Dr. Alira Robert, the Chief Executive Officer, Corona Schools Trust Council, Mrs. Adeyoni Adeshina, the guest lecturer who I recognized earlier, principal officers of the college, representatives of other colleges of education present, deans of faculty of education, presidents of various professional associations in Nigeria and abroad, and gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and also our host for today, the college provost, Dr. Olajumoke Ekinyura. So as we start the program, we would like to start with opening prayer, which will be taken by the registrar of the college in person of Mrs. Olufunmilayo Afe. Registrar, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Let us pray.
Good morning, ma'am.
Dear precious God, we come before you today with grateful hearts, thanking you for the opportunity of past lecture series, the benefits and the impacts therefrom, and another wonderful time to share knowledge. We look eagerly ahead for more robust and unique experiences today and in the future series. We ask that to guide us as we seek to learn and grow together. We open this lecture today by asking for your grace. Grant us wisdom, understanding, and insights as we engage with the ideas and perspectives that will be shared today. May our minds be open, our hearts be receptive, and our spirits be lifted. Bless the speaker and all participants that we may be inspired and challenged to make a positive impact in our world and to appreciate each other's talents and perspectives towards a rich mental wellness always. May this lecture be a catalyst for growth and unity amongst us. Let it be productive and efficient. Let it be without any hitch. Give us creative ideas and solutions that will bring about positive results concerning our overall wellness. In Jesus' gracious name, we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the prayer. Okay, our selectable audience, you can turn on your cameras or kindly ensure your microphones are muted. There will be a segment for questions and answers. For those would allow you to speak, or you can drop your questions on the group, on the chat box. Also, we have those on YouTube watching us. You can drop your questions, your comments, your suggestions there as well. And peradventure, you get locked out of the Zoom platform and you can't get back. Please join us on YouTube, Corona College of Education, Lagos on YouTube. Thank you very much, everybody. We would like now to take the welcome address by the provost, Dr. Olajumoke Ekinyura.
All right. Good morning, everyone. the chairman of the occasion, our distinguished guest lecturer, and other distinguished guests on this program. It's my delight to welcome everyone to this edition of the College Public Lecture Series. It's been an annual event. We have it at least 2 to 3 times in a year. And I have the singular pleasure of welcoming everyone to today's event. Let me recognize specially and appreciate the chairman for the occasion today, Professor Mopelola Olusakin, who has been introduced earlier. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting to chair the occasion.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I also want to appreciate the guest lecturer for accepting to present today's lecture, Dr. Timi Oyebode.
Thank you, Ma.
You will still be introduced. Your profile and citation will be read later on. Thank you for joining us all the way from Canada.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Yeah. A very warm recognition to members of the Corona Schools Trust Council, both those who have joined and those who will join much later on. Especially, we want to recognize the chairman of the Corona Schools Trust Council, Honorable Justice R.I.B. Adebiye, the chairman of the College Governing Council, Dr. Alero Roberts. She will be joining very soon. And every other member of the governing board of the CSTC and the council members of the college. The CEO of the Trust Council, Mrs. Adeyoyi Adeshina, and heads of schools who have joined, the executive management from the central office, and distinguished academics from sister institutions from the north, south, east, and west of Nigeria and beyond the shores of Nigeria. You're welcome. Today's lecture revolves around mental wellness. And I'm sure you agree with me that it's very appropriate for the times we live in. Just yesterday, I read in the news of a certain Nigerian, an ex-CEO of one of the big conglomerates in Nigeria, who was alleged to have committed suicide by jumping off the balcony of his apartment in Lekki. I don't know how many people followed that news as well. Again, I'm aware that some couple of years back, I read the story of a certain woman, a former Miss USA, who also jumped down from the balcony of a high-rise building in New York to her death. She also committed suicide. Could it be that they have been suffering silently, but undetected, because the issues of mental wellness are not oftentimes written on the face? So people tend to take it for granted, tend to overlook or downplay these matters until something very bad really happens. Issues of mental breakdown, suicide rates, anxiety, depression are surely symptomatic of deeper issues, deeper trauma that affects everyone at one point in time or the other. It affects the young, the old. It affects the students, the adults, even the aged. It affects male, female. It affects the poor, even the rich also cry. So there are issues that are around us, and we need to contribute our quota as a college, not only because May, the month of May, happens to be the month of mental wellness or mental awareness month, and more so because the times we live in, as I have said, both globally and nationally, these are trying times that have mounted immense pressure on humanity as a whole. pressure physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so it bears, some form of efforts for us all to investigate this matter further and see how we can develop coping strategies. I'm particularly curious to listen to our guest speaker today as she walks us through these matters of social, emotional, and psychological influences on mental wellness. Some time ago, Dr. Oyebode, I stumbled on one of your stories, I think a video clip or something like that on YouTube. And I listened to your story as you narrated the abuse and the trauma you had also encountered growing up. So I'm curious to listen to you, and I'm sure that clips from your personal journey may also help to provide understanding of some of the matters we are examining together today in today's conversation. I am hoping that at the end of today's lecture, we all can indeed tease out coping strategies, both for our personal lives and even to share with others. It's not until bad things happen to people that we know that there are issues underlying these things and they must be addressed, detected. We must all be sensitive enough to detect these issues around us. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not wish to take our time further. I wish us all a very enlightening and impactful session. Thank you for your attention. God bless.
Thank you very much, Provost Ma. Thank you very much, Provost Ma, for the welcome address. We'd like to move on to the opening remarks by the chairman, Professor Mrs. Mopelola Olushaki. Chairman,
Thank you very much. I would like to stand on the existing protocol well laid by the Provost Corona College of Education. I want to appreciate Corona College of Education Management and the committee for this webinar for inviting me to chair this series. I want us to know that when we talk about mental wellness, and especially in the Nigeria of today, it is very, very key because people are going through a lot. A lot is happening in Nigeria, but not just in Nigeria. As the provost has rightly said, all over the world, people are passing through a lot because of so many issues. When we are referring to the psychosocial aspect, we are talking of our society, the social things happening in our society, the cultural aspect. We are talking about our environmental factors, and we are talking about the makeup of the individual's mind and the behavior. Now, people are facing stress, a lot of stress, because of the economic situation of our nation. And this economic situation of our nation is so bad that even the rich also cry. Because when you are the head of poor people, all the other people, they are going to focus on you and they are going to make demands on you, and that in itself can be stressful and could cause you sleeplessness. And we had found out that lack of sleep in itself can cause negative mental well-being. But there are ways of preventing this. Why not preempting? Dr. Oyebode is going to go on to talk extensively on this topic. We will look at the fact that people need to prevent, because prevention is always better than cure. That people need to find ways of coping with life's adversity. And that in psychology, we have found out that the way people cope with negative emotions and negative things happening around them, their level of resilience affects their mental health. When people worry and they could not sleep at night, even not just their mental wellness, even their health, physical health is affected. Some have been admitted into hospitals because of the fact that they are worrying. They have a lot of things. They worry about things at times. So those things might not even be there, might not have happened. They are just anticipating that it might happen. Loneliness could also cause adverse mental health. And when people go into anger against the government or against their neighbors or against themselves, this could lead to mood disorder. And like my PhD thesis that was on depression among women, the depression is not just only among women now, it's among people of different ages and levels. In those days, it used to be among people who are of middle age and above. But now we have depression even among children, adolescents, as well as the elderly. And when people go into depression, depending on the level of depression, it could lead to suicide. And a lot of people have attempted suicide. Some are lucky that they get people who rescue them before they actually committed their suicidal attempt. But some, they carried it out and they die, leaving their families to suffer the sadness, and that could in itself lead to another swing of negative mental wellness. Some had gone into bipolar disorder, and some already have personality disorders that they are suffering from. Some are psychotic in their nature, and when little or certain level of challenges are before them, they quickly run into depression and they become very sad. We have ways that people could try and overcome their challenges. People need to have self-control. Yes, there are challenges, the economy is bad, but it's not just limited to us as individuals. It's not limited to one person. Everybody is facing it, although the level might differ. Then people should be committed to life and not think that the way of escape is to commit suicide or to run away into the desert or get off from the society. There are so many things that are these factors. In this Nigeria, even to eat now for some people had become problematic. People don't have food on their table because the prices have skyrocketed. To cook soup is another problem. Small pot of soup now could cost as high as 5,000 for a family of 4. At times, people try to escape by going into drinking and then making use of drugs. And as they go into that, that can affect their mental wellness. Also, we have the issue of family conflict. Family conflict has been found to be a major source of negative mental wellness. especially for the children who are torn between their loyalty to their father and their mother. And this is very common nowadays. People take divorce as something that is just a way of escape when they have challenges in their marriages. But some actually suffer from domestic violence. Then what are these signs? How do we know? As I'm beginning to round up to allow our guest speaker, Dr. Timi Oyebode, to have enough time. How can we identify when people have negative mental health? You see them feeling so sad. They are confused in their thinking and they show the sign of confusion. When people have excessive fears or worries or extreme feelings of guilt, and they think that the things happening around them, affecting them, is because of their negligence or because it's their fault, they tend to, one way or the other, inflict pains on themselves. And when people withdraw from their friends and activities, we need to watch out for them. Nowadays, if you don't see your friend for some time, you have not heard from your friend, you need to call, please, and check on your friends and relations. Because we have heard of incidences of people that have died in their apartments and people did not know for days. So people need to check up on their relatives and friends. And when, as an individual, you know that you are feeling so tired, you don't have energy, you don't even have the will to move on in life, and everything around you seems to be against you, what should you do? You need to talk to someone, talk to a counselor, and see people around you that you can talk to concerning what you are passing through. You have to determine to stay alive no matter what, and also stay active. Be active and find something to do. People beg for money up and down. Poverty is not an excuse to go into depression. There be people who have been poor, and one way or the other, they try to put in effort and they are able to survive. And they are able to even send their children to government schools, and in their lives now, they are able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Appeal to yourself. Talk to yourself when nobody is there. Even if you don't have somebody to talk to yourself positively. Be positive in your attitude, and then relax. Make relaxation a practice in your life. Go out and look at the environment. Even though you don't have much money, please try and eat healthy. Some people even have money and they eat what is not good for their health. And finally, sleep well and also smile and laugh, even despite the situation that might be around us, because we have found those to be therapeutic and it has helped a lot of people. Thank you very much. As we move forward, I hope and I know that we are going to enjoy this webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Professor Mrs. Mopelola Olusegun, for
Thank
the
you.
opening remarks. It was quite enlightening. Please, if you appreciate that, kindly use your virtual applause. You can access the icon and clap. You're allowed to use your virtual hands. Please clap. That was an interesting opening remark. Okay, without much of further ado, we would like to read our guest speaker's citation for today's public lecture. And the citation of the guest lecturer will be taken by Mrs. Nora Jegede, the Training and Development Manager, Corona College of Education Consult. Mrs. Nora Jegede, ma.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Akinlane. So the profile, Oyebode is the founder and head counselor at Attitude Development International, an organization focused on promoting professional counseling and counseling education in Africa. She is a seasoned, passionate, and certified professional counselor, psychotherapist, and mediator with over individuals, couples, and families. Emotional wellness, self-discovery, trauma, abuse, addiction, and sex recovery therapy. Dr. Oyebode is passionate about family, young person, healing, and restoration from trauma. He's an associate chartered mediator and conciliator with Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, ICMC, faculty at Mediation Training Institute, MTI, member of various counseling and psychotherapy associations, including International Association of Counseling, IAC, Canadian Association of Psychotherapy and Counseling, EAPC, Counseling Association of Nigeria, CASN, African Network of Professional Counseling, Association of Nigeria, African Network of Professional Counselors, ANEPCO. Dr. Timi Oyebode is the president, African Network of Professional Counselors, also the vice chairperson, Lagos chapter of CASN, Counseling Association of Nigeria. When it comes to trauma, abuse, addiction, self-discovery, sexuality, and marital challenges,
regarding your window that will not
Dr.
open
Timi
close.
Oyebode is the ideal counselor to consult. She's a frequent guest speaker at the various programs, both locally and internationally. Additionally, she's been honored with various awards. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome our guest speaker for today, Dr. Timi Oyebode. Thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nora. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to the entire house, everyone in the house today in this lecture. Thank you to the management of the Corona College of Education. Thank you to everyone who had made this possible. So standing on existing protocol, I sincerely want to just appreciate the whole house for we are having this conversation even today. Yes, I am Timi Oyebode, Dr. Timi Oyebode. That's because I have a PhD in counseling. I'm passionate about everything that has to do with wellness, particularly mental wellness. And so it's a great honor to be with us today, sharing at this public lecture. I understand that a couple of it had happened before, and the fact that we are having this again this time this year, it's not a coincidence. I strongly believe that it is divinely orchestrated that we are having such a time together this morning. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Professor Lushaki, ma'am. I love you. Thank you, my provost, ma'am. Doctor, thank you. God bless you. And of course, the governing body and all members of management and all protocol daily observed. Thank you for having me. So we're going straight into my lecture. And I always believe that a lecture is always an opportunity for us all to learn, including myself. And I hope that today's lecture will be the same also, so that we can explore things together and have time to discuss. And I will be learning you will be learning, everyone will be learning, and I strongly believe that we'll be able to have some good takeaway from today's lectures. So I would go ahead to share my screen now. Please give me a minute to get that on. Okay. All right. Once again, give God all the glory and honor for us having this opportunity to be partakers of this today. A lecture is always an opportunity to learn, to discuss. And of course, I know I'm not, I'm not the overall knowing on this topic that we have picked. I'm sure many of us are very vast in this area, and possibly some of us have had even direct personal experience on this topic today. And that's why I said it's a learning on all curves. I'll be sharing from my own perspective, my own learnings and my research, particularly on how these psychosocial and the emotional influences are on our mental health, particularly in Nigeria today. Of course, we have people from all over the world still joining us at the lecture, so definitely cut across, as our provost has earlier mentioned. So I am looking at this most in a defined way, in a more definite way, particularly from the Nigerian angle, and what's happening to us as a people, as a nation, and the impact it's having on us. Psychosocial and emotional influences on mental wellness in Nigeria today. Mental health is often missing, amazingly, from most public health talks or debate, even though it's critical to well-being. Mental health is often missing from public health debates, even though it's critical to well-being. And so whenever I get invited, or I see a group or a body or association wanting to talk about mental health in the public place, it's exciting, it's beautiful, because we have so much stigma still attached to this. And I need us to know this. Yes, I'm in Canada, but I want you to know that even in Canada, in the US, in the UK, in almost every Western world, there's still a lot of stigmatization attached to mental health, okay, or mental illness. I'm gonna go on further to let you understand the difference. But I know that back home for us, there's a whole lot of hushy, don't talk about it. No, doesn't mean, oh, you have madness in your family. Oh, if you say there is an issue, or they start tracing it down to historical and cultural biases that we've had over time against people who are struggling with any form of mental illness. So when conversations like these are allowed to happen, it's a beautiful thing, because, you know, it helps to some level demystify what is going on and help people relate to it. Because once we can relate to it, once it's normal, once we can get it to a level of understanding how normal mental health conversations should be, then we are going to be able to deal with many things that comes attached with it. Mental wellness, that's our focus for today. And when we talk about mental wellness, we're practically talking about a component of all the health: the physical, the emotional, the social, all of it, okay, as compact as it can be. And that is why, like I said earlier, being able to understand these things are basic. Now, the man is made up of body, spirit, and soul. Body, spirit, and soul. Oftentimes, we know already that if there is any challenge with your body, you go to the doctor. We know already that if there's any challenge spiritually, we have spiritual leaders. The pastors, the imams, the traditional worshippers, we have like a solution, like a go-to for our physical as well as our spiritual health, then what happens to the soul? We keep forgetting that man is made up of three things. Man is not just body, man is not just spirit, there is a soul. And maybe many times when I ask these questions, what happened to the soul? Where is the soul? I get this feedback of, oh, okay, God will take care of it. Like, oh, my soul is God. But our body is also God. Our spirit is also with God to care for. But yet he gave us physical or relatable means to be able to get the kind of help and support that we need. The soul is a place of the mind. When we say the soul of the matter, the mind of the matter, the core of the matter, the mind. And so it is important that if we are concerned about our physical health and we are making a deliberate effort to make sure we eat healthy, we eat balanced diet, we take our proteins, our nutritions, everything that we need to take per time. The moment we are so conscious of all of that, and we are also conscious of our spiritual growth, we're conscious of, oh, I have not prayed today. Some of us fast, some of us go to church or you go to the mosque. Whatever we do, just to keep yourself spiritually balanced, then what deliberate effort are you putting in to keep your soul balanced, to keep your mind balanced, to give yourself a solid mental health? That's what we're talking about today. And with that, I will also be explaining that there is a huge difference between mental health and mental illness. Now, when people talk about, generally what you keep hearing or what people say is, oh, mental health. Oh, there's a mental health problem, mental health this. But hey, the same way we have physical health, like I told us earlier, the same way we have mental health, the same way we have physical illnesses, the same way we have mental illnesses. So mental health is not mental illness. And that's why we need to get comfortable to use the word mental health. Get comfortable to understand that when we say mental health, we're not talking about somebody who is already sick. We're talking about a state of well-being. We're talking about a state of mind that is balanced. We're talking about a state of mind that is concise. As much as possible, because I know this is a public lecture, I have tried to make sure that I don't use so much of professional jargons or terminologies that would need to be broken down. That's why I'm trying to put it as simple as possible for the layperson to understand. Even if a teenager is in the house with us this morning, they should be able to understand. Mental health is a state of wellness, a general state of wellness. In fact, when we look at the WHO definition, they have gone on to tell us that it's a state whereby the person is engaging in the community where the person finds him or herself. The community, the place. The person is speaking the right language that is expected in the community where they find themselves. The person is dressing in the right way in the community where they find themselves. The person is engaging, is able to participate. When that is there, then we're talking about mental health. While mental illness on the other side is something that disrupts the mental state. That is, it interrupts how the person feels, how the person thinks, how the person communicates and behave. So earlier I told you that it has to do with being able to be in alignment with the community, with the society, with what is expected within a region. Because that is the basic way how we begin to measure physically the state of one's mental health. So for example, if you have somebody who, a very good example, wearing bikini, which is almost possibly maybe even a two-piece, for a female who goes in a bikini and she wears this at the beach. This will be taken as normal, right? Because she's at the beach or she's beside the swimming pool, it's accepted. Now, imagine that same female living where she is and then going out onto the road of Lagos, for example, and then goes on to Ikeja because she needs to get something at Computer Village, and then drives down to Ikeja and comes down in the bikini. It's two-piece bikini. Now, wearing the bikini is not wrong because she's wore a clothing for a particular incident. But the place where she's wearing it now determines the correlation or the state of mind of this person. Now, that's just to give you one example to understand basically how these things are being measured. But when we say mental illness, I also need us to understand, and I will show you the contaminant later on, because it's not the extreme, like I just put it now. I just give you a basic extreme of how to see that something is not aligning, particularly in the culture. So another good example would be if this same person is in the Western world and decides to wear maybe a bump short and a t-shirt to the office. In many offices in the Western world, that could be taken as okay, as normal. But if you wear that to an office in Lagos, Nigeria, you will be taken as something is wrong. So we see culture, society, and all of that are determinant. So we can say, so for example, one of the major things we've been battling with, and I have been personally involved with and trying to correct here, is the fact that many of our Nigerian men, when they are in the Western world, they are easily misdiagnosed, particularly of being diagnosed of having schizophrenia or stuff like that. Why? Because one major reason is because we speak loud. Many of the people here would not speak loud or speak at the top of their voice. Now, when a typical man is angry, he goes bam, and then he goes loud and he's talking. And before you know it, and then professional experts, of course, neighbors are reporting you, and then professional experts are brought in, and they say, oh, when he was talking, his eyes was coming out, his nose was big, his lips were big. And so that means he has mental illness. And it comes to the point of trying to explain that, oh yeah, our men do express anger. Being angry could be a form, could be a sign, but it necessarily does not diagnose you to mean that you have these problems. So what am I saying? There are different levels. The same way we have a physical illness, whereby someone could have a headache or have a stomach pain. A headache is different from a stomach pain. A stomach pain is different from ulcer. Ulcer is different from typhoid. Typhoid is different from cancer. The same way we have it with mental body. Different degrees of distress, okay? And so someone could be at the point where it's just mental illness of headache, which means they can use simple PRN and be out of it. So someone could be at the mental illness of just having I have a heartache. I just got betrayed. I just got broken. Someone could be at the mental illness of, I just received a disappointment. So they are different things. And that's why it's key for us to understand that they are all at different levels. Let's go on, please. Now, we are looking at the psychosocial influences. That is, how does the psycho, when we say psycho, oftentimes when you see that word psycho, it's usually referred to the mind, okay? So whether you see it as written as psyche, psycho, psycha, whatever, once you see psych, I want you to henceforth think mind, okay? So we have psycho, which is mind, and then we have social, all right? Remember our lecture today is focusing on the mind, the social, and the emotional. In all of this, if you look at the psychosocial influences, particularly how it influences mental health or how it leads on into mental illnesses, such psychological factors, that is the mind factors, include the personality of the person, the cognition, the emotions, the behavioral processes. Now, let me quickly summarize that in this context. Sometimes people how come the two children grew up in the same household? all right? And they experienced maybe domestic violence from their parent. They both experienced their parents' separation or their parents' death. They both experienced lack of resources in the house. They both experienced all the negative things you can think of. And then they respond to it in two different ways because of the personalities. So when we are talking about mental health and why some personalities seems more receptive to it, okay, than the other. And that is why it is key as individuals. You know, like I said to you, you know your physical health. You know your spiritual status. You also need to know your mental status. You need to know your personality. You need to understand the kind of person that you are. When we talk personality types, there are different personalities, right? But one easy way I always try to explain it, especially to people who are not in the psychological pathway, is to use the temperaments. I tell you, if you can understand the 4 basic temperaments and find your own narrative in it. Truth is, you could be all of the 4. Truth is, you could be 2 or 3 or whatever of the 4, all right? The most important thing is you are coming into awareness of your person, because what you do not know, you cannot protect. If you don't know you cannot help you. Just recently, I think yesterday or thereabout, I was having a conversation with some counselors on our counselors group, and someone was talking about people who have bad attitude and how many of them do not want help. And I had to contribute and say, no, not that they don't want help, but maybe they don't even know that their attitude is bad. And then we said, oh, some people do know that they have bad attitude, but still yet they are not correcting that attitude. And I said, to know something is totally different from being aware of something. That you know, many of us knows what you've heard the word, you've seen the word mental health. So you know, in terms of knowledge. But you may not be aware, because awareness has to do with information. Awareness has to do with practical tools. Awareness has to do with being able to comprehend the length, the breadth, the depth of that issue. That's awareness. So if you go around and you say, oh yeah, I know myself. Oh, I know myself. How aware are you about you? Do you know your blind spot? Do you know your tick off? Do you know what triggers you? Do you know what traumas you have been in the past and the impact those traumas could be having on your life, your marriage, your finance, everything about you right now? Or are you that kind of person that says, no, it happened in the past, so I've moved on? Excuse me? No. The mind doesn't forget. The mind doesn't move on the way we think. The mind is like a reservoir of information, pictures, just like your phone is storing data, storing all the things that is going on in your life. You might have been able to push some to the back of your mind because of years. But the years necessarily does not mean they've healed your wound. No. That is why you don't understand how come you've pledged so much that you will not have the kind of marriage your parents had. You will not go through poverty like your father or your mother had. And then many years down the line, you find yourself in almost the same similar situation. You find yourself at loggerheads with your son, your teenage son, the same way you and your father didn't have a good relationship. Maybe because you've not taken time to begin to sit down and look at yourself, look at your behavioral processes, look at your emotions, look at you as an entity. I know many times people are quick to say, no, I don't want all those labeling. I don't want, don't give me a particular temperament. And then especially those of faith, they're quick to say, no, I'm everything, but what I'm saying to us today is the cycle, the part of you, the psychological factors that makes you up determines a whole lot about the state of your mental health. If your personality is the type, so let me give you the 2 broad personality. We have the introverted ones and then the extroverted personality. Of course, we also have those who we call the in-between. Okay, they are both extrovert and introvert. Yeah. So we have now these 3 temperaments are further broken down. These three personalities are further broken down into several other personality types. You need to know where you belong. When you know where you belong, you would also be able to now know what makes you think, what helps your mind. The other factor is the social factor, which is your family, where you came from. I've had to work with clients. I once had a client who had what we call trauma blocking. In such cases where an individual looks at their life or looks at a part of what they've gone through and kind of mentally blocks it off. You were there, you could probably be saying to the person, oh, did you remember this thing that happened so year ago? And the person says, no, I can't remember. Oh, did you remember this? The person said, no, I can't remember. Because the mind has deliberately blocked off that part of their mind. You could even look at this person and think, is it lying? Oh, this person is a liar. This person is about, no. Because sometimes we do happen that people look at their background, look at where they're coming from, and because they want to move out of it, okay, they psychologically block it off. In fact, I'm sure some of us will experience people who would come off and give you a totally different social status from what they actually grew up with. They come up and start telling you things like, oh, my father, they bring up fake fathers, fake mothers, fake siblings that really do not exist because they want to change the status of their background. Social factors like even socioeconomic status, peer pressures, interpersonal relationships, all of these ones shape the personalities of the person and influences the psychological makeup at the end of the day. How you think, how you reason, and the level of mental resilience you're going to have when you're about to fall ill. So what are we saying? We're talking about the psychosocial health. And we're saying your mental, that is your thinking capacity, your spiritual, that's how you engage spiritually, your emotions, and your social life. All of this are important to this conversation we're having today. Now, let's look at Nigeria today. Remember, we're talking about psychosocial and emotional wellness, mental wellness in Nigeria today. 40.2% of Nigerian students report poor mental health status, according to ESAN-FL. The proportion seems to be more higher amongst female than male. That is, more females students complained and talked about their mental illness. You also need to know something, and this is amazing, because people have often asked questions of how come more men seems to be committing suicide? And yes, statistics tells us more women experience depression than men. And I'm quick to always explain that maybe because women will most likely say that, would let you know at one point or the other that they're going through stuff, even if they're not going to get help. And so here, where we have it that the proportion of female students who have reported poor mental health status is actually even higher, 31.8%, than the male student, which is 8.2%. Still, yeah, if you look at the statistics of students, even that you've heard of, that committed suicide, there are more men. I'm going somewhere. An estimated 30% of Nigeria, this was a report of 2016, so we have another one of 2018 that says 30% of Nigerians are believed to suffer from mental health disorder. This implies about 60 million Nigerians. 80 cases of suicide has been reported in the last 1 year, that's within Lagos alone, and with Lagos leading with about 15 cases within that period under review. This was given us by Abdulaziz Lai, which was in 2018. Look at this third one. Here, WHO in 2023 estimated that around 40 million Nigerians are affected by mental illness as of 2023. This is WHO's statistics for us. Now, they went further to tell us that the most prevalent mental illnesses they went further to tell us that the most prevalent mental illnesses in Nigeria is going to include depression and anxiety disorders. Sometimes we wonder, and that's why I'm always quick to tell people, don't rush to use the word, oh, I'm depressed. Depression is not a slang. It's a mental illness. It's not something you just want to throw around. When I have counseling clients, when I have clients come in and they say to me, Doctor, yeah, I'm seeking therapy because I'm depressed. The first question I want to ask you is, who diagnosed you? How did you know you were depressed? Is it self-diagnosis? Did you go on social media, on internet, or Google and start Googling some symptoms? If you do that, there are so many things online that will point towards depression for you. But there are ways we measure depression. And we tell you, oh, mood change, mood swings are normal. It's part of our emotional makeup. It's part of what makes us who we are. Okay? And so it's important that we understand that depression is a mental illness. You see someone is being in a consistent mood. In fact, one of the major criteria where depression is measured is the duration. Okay, and we are told that if someone has been in a bad mood consistently means possibly all day, consistently, and maintain that for minimum of 4 weeks, consistently. They just have this gloom around them consistently. Okay. In fact, this gloom could go as far as, okay, I don't want to, there's a lot of heaviness. I don't want to connect with people. I don't want to talk to people. But some would even go out to talk. But you notice that this person is complaining and is being consistent. So please, because above every other thing is also understanding how not to call sicknesses using random terms, because that's why people move on. When someone says around you, oh, I have depression, because it has kind of become like a slang, like something you could just say. Recently I had a woman saying, oh, yeah, I struggle with anxiety, as in she was saying it like you know, when you're talking about, you know, something casual. No, these are mental illnesses, anxiety disorders. Oh, different kinds of it. We have the general anxiety disorder, whereby the person is just anxious. You realize you panic over everything. You realize even when you are reassured, okay, and told that when you know everything is fine, you still have thought telling you something could go wrong, something could go wrong. If you are having that consistently, you might be struggling with general anxiety disorder, what we call GAD. But like I said earlier, do not diagnose yourself. There are people who have social anxiety disorder. That means they're okay, they are fine everywhere. But when they get into the public space, or where they have to stand or be in a place where there are many people, they start having this overwhelming feeling, okay? And there is those whose major sign is panic disorder, okay? Or panic, what we call panic attack, you know, where the heart is pumping and they just have this overwhelming sense of, oh, things are going to go wrong. I've had, so, you know, sometimes there's so many, but you've been able to find yours. And that's why I emphasized earlier, know yourself and ask yourself, is this the way I've always been? What has changed? If you were someone who was naturally calm and peaceful about things, and then you realize recently you're worried about so many things, you find yourself thinking so much about so many things, then you may want to check in. But please go to a professional, let them check you out, because you might not have this disorder, but you may call it upon yourself. And because you called it upon yourself, you start tilting towards it. And that's where all of this dynamics needs to be well balanced. So please, I'm discouraging self-diagnosis. All right, so you may not be able to control what is happening around you, like we said. The society, the background, the family where you came from, you might not be able to control it. The society where you find yourself, you might not be able to control it. Many of us, I don't think there's any of us who had a choice of where you were born. the family we're born into, the place, the people. No, none of us. Okay, you just knew you were born. Now, growing up also in the community where you find yourself, if you have a choice, maybe you will have been born by Dangote. Okay, if you had a choice, maybe you will have been born by, you would probably even be born in Nigeria if you have a choice. All right, but because we didn't have a choice to control where we came from, we do not have the choice to control where we grew up, because all of that at this point, we don't have a control over them. Don't forget, I've told you earlier, those are psychosocial factors. Those are social factors, strong ones, that determines what plays out in your life as an adult. However, you don't have control over those things. Now, what you have control over is what is happening inside of you. Just the same way, so many cures, so many things are happening. The economic status in Nigeria right now, the security situation is bad, terribly bad, to the point where people talk about daylight robbery. If you're going through all of that, you cannot control that. You can determine kidnapping, robbery. You can't determine, you can't control that, because it is not within your power. Even if you are a government official, we've seen it happen. We've seen government officials, family members being kidnapped. We've seen even there was a time we've had even to the level of presidency where they had family members being at mercy of the community, of the society. You cannot control that. But every time, it is what is inside of you. It is the mind that you can control. And that is where it matters. This is the amazing thing I always say. As much as you focus on your physical health and your spiritual health, the mind is so powerful that it can control this order too. The mind can control your spiritual health. It can control your physical health. That is how powerful it is. And that's why it's important that you begin to become conscious of your mind. Remember, those who are Bible scholars, you remember that story in the Bible of how men tried to build a tower. And they were building, and they were so building that even God had to say to himself, if I do not intervene and interrupt these guys, their mind is so fixated on this thing, they will get to heaven by building this tower. That is how powerful the mind is. And there are so many places. If you go into the scriptures, you go into the Quran, there are so many emphases of how powerful the mind is. But it's so sad that, especially from our side, those of us who are African, it's so sad that we were not so much taught about the powers of our mind. Let's check out the spectrums. So when we talk about mental health, like I told you earlier, I told you it has a continuum. There is range. So it is not everyone you see, because sometimes look at the case Dr. our provost mentioned, the man that died recently that committed suicide. If you've been reading online about him and everything that happened, you would have heard of how he doesn't even look like someone who will commit suicide. In fact, somebody who worked with him directly said, this is a very jovial man. This is a very happy guy. He had everything. He had, at least you would say that the average person doesn't have food to eat. He had food to eat. One common slang that has been used for us as Nigerians, they'll say, oh, the happiest people, the people who know how to suffer. And what's the slang now? We know how to, is it laugh and suffer, or we cry and laugh? We know how to be happy even when everything is bad. And that is why it might be very difficult for us to be able to highlight it. Many times people think until someone starts telling you, oh, I see this. Someone is talking to me, I'm hearing voices. Oh, did you see that? And you are saying, no, I didn't see it. And the person says, no, there's another person in this room with us. People think that is when we're talking about mental illness. But no, There are so many signs. I've had couples, I've had wives or husbands who come in to me recently, who will talk about behaviors of their partners. And then they will tell me these behaviors and be talking from the angle of, I don't know why she's like that. She's just so wicked. I don't know why he's like that. But by the time they are telling me the behaviors and I'm looking at the patterns and the consistencies, I'm looking and telling them, you are looking at behavioral deformities. You are looking at behaviors, or you're looking at, oh, that young son of yours, he's being lazy. He's in his room locked up. His room is dirty. Everywhere is scattered around him. He's just being lazy. No, maybe he's not being lazy. Maybe you're dealing with someone who has mental illness. But because your own understanding of mental illness is somebody who has dreadlocks scattered all over his head, who has torn clothing. So you didn't know that there is a continuum. There is a level of optimal mental wellness where the person is in a state where they can perform excellently well. They can come into the community, the society, and speak very well. They can present themselves in good conduct. There is a state of mild distress where the person is going through issues. One good example I'm always quick to give is heartache. If someone tells us now and says, oh, Mama, sir, I have a headache. I've been feeling sick for some days. You are likely to say, okay, yeah, go see a doctor. A staff of yours will come to work and tell you, oh yeah, I'm not feeling well. I've been having headaches. And you say, okay. In fact, during COVID period, remember, even after COVID, every sign that someone comes in and says, oh, I'm not feeling good. What do you say? Well, you need to go, you need to take a break, take a break off work. Give them 2 days, 3 days, let them go and take a break. So imagine if one of your staff comes in, or if someone comes in, or your family member, anybody comes in and says to you, I have a heartache. What is the likely response to that person? Right? Oh, get over it. Oh, heartache is all about, oh, welcome to the club. It's normal. People betray you. People disappoint you. You move on. It has been proven, research has proven it repeatedly, that there is no difference. In fact, many times, the mental pain, the emotional pain, and physical pain. Look at it this way. This year alone, this is just June. Between January and June, some of us have had to shed tears. You've had to cry. Were you crying because somebody took a cane and flogged you? No, possibly. Were you crying because you fell down? No, possibly. Were you crying because you were sick, physically sick? No, possibly. But maybe something had happened that hit you so hard within that you were shedding tears, even without anybody beating you. The mind doesn't know the difference. Pain is pain. Physical pain, emotional pain, pain is pain. If someone goes through betrayal, it is as huge as having malaria. If someone goes through, this person has so much look forward to having a job and went for a job interview and didn't get the job interview, didn't get a job at the end of the day, and that is the last point, and he's so broken. It is as painful as having ulcer. If someone is angry, okay, it is as painful as having typhoid. So we need to begin to understand these dynamics and not just look at young children or a young person who is going through distress and you just say to that person, get over it. There is the moderate distress. And by the time we're getting to that point, it becomes a bit more obvious. The mild distress point, you might not even see it because the person is being told, get over it, get over it. And so the person is trying to behave, still trying to act normal, like everything. But by the time we get to moderate distress, if you are attentive, you might be able to pick it out. For example, the physical outlook of the person can start changing. Things begins to happen that it suggests that, oh, there's stress going on in this person's life. distress. Stress. It's also amazing how many times people use stress to cover up mental illness. Oh, they just tell you I'm stressed. Or they even normalize stress. I've had people who would say to me, oh, no, I don't sleep. I'm going to be sleeping. Oops. One of the things we had motivational speakers told us over the years is that, oh, those people who sleep all through the night, you're sleeping so hours of your life away. That's what we're told. But those are all lies. Oh, and then you have people saying, no, when I'm supposed to be thinking, I'm planning business strategies, when I'm supposed to be doing this, doing that, why should I be sleeping? They find it difficult. You already get into the level of moderate distress before mental health illness itself will occur. And when we talk about this mental illness, like I said, it comes in different forms. Today, because of our time, I might not have all the luxury of breaking everything down. But I want you to know that mental illness comes in as basic as depression, like I said earlier, as basic as anxiety disorder. Someone is always anxious. Someone you know that worries a lot. Don't just take it like, oh, this person worries a lot. As basic as anger. When you see somebody who is quick to, sometimes we use the word like, oh, she's too short-fused. Oh, she gets angry easily. I don't know her problem. Why is she always angry? Oh, why is he always angry? Someone who is being violent. Okay, is being reported today of being violent, tomorrow is being violent. No, you are looking at behaviors, but you are not looking at the root of the behavior. You are looking at symptoms. The behaviors that you are seeing, that you're complaining about, the teenage son who is not taking care of his space, who is not taking his bath regularly, who is dirty, the girl that is mixing with the wrong crowd, the girl who is doing drugs, and you are complaining today, complaining tomorrow. You need to see beyond the behavior. You need to see beyond the symptoms. Let's stop focusing on symptoms. Let's know that there is a cause. There's a root. There is something wrong in the mind. And that's why you're seeing that behavior. Let's go on. Oh, yes. I picked on suicide. Like I said, I may not have time to digress into all of this mental illnesses. But one key one is suicidal ideation, which is usually at the peak of mental illness. All right. And suicidal ideation, I need us to be aware of this because there is suicidal ideation, there is suicidal tendencies. Okay. That is somebody who is thinking or having ideas of suicide. And then there's someone who is prone, who has reasons or more chances of actually engaging in suicide. All right. Now, one major thing that we had struggled with as a people, as Nigerians, as Africans, like I said, many of us, we struggle with this part is, why would somebody kill themselves? We keep thinking it's not normal. Okay. But forgetting that we've always had this, maybe because of the abnormality that our culture has given to it. So we've always had it in hushed tones. That means it happens within family, and then people will come out and tell you, oh, he just slept and he didn't wake up. Oh, we don't know what happened to him. They actually knew. They know that he committed suicide, but because they need to cover that up. So we've had a lot of, when it comes to suicide as a whole, there's been a lot of silence and discrimination against that. I remember a time ago when Lagos State government made a law against suicide. Am I going to call them victims now, or those who had suicidal thoughts or who tried to take it out and goes to the bridge to jump in, because we're having series of people jumping into the lagoon, and then there was this jail term or final or fees, penalty fee that you have to pay if you are in that space. Now, many times the truth is, when it gets to that point, some of us think that, oh, those people is just attention seeking. Oh, it's just calling this, just looking for attention. Like I told you earlier, there is a continuum. And I've said to you also, you need to realize that before someone gets to that point where they are attention seeking, where it looks like they're attention seeking to you, there's a continuum. So that means if they are getting to the point where they are seeking attention, that means they are getting to the point of moderate distress. That means they are getting to the point where obviously something is wrong. Seeking attention, especially the wrong and negative way, are pointers to let us know, bam, something has to change and that has to be corrected. So some signs you may see, okay, overall, that someone is extreme quietness, someone who talks before and then now becomes more withdrawn, someone who has who would go out, oh, can we go out for this, and he's saying no, I don't want to go today, tomorrow. You just notice, and just like Professor Shakin said earlier, someone you have not heard from in a long time just appears like the person just goes silent or quiet. Okay, that might be a sign for you to look out for. Someone who avoids eye contact. You're talking to the person and the person is not looking at you. Someone who avoids physical touch. You want to hug or you want to touch or your hand touches the person and the person is doing like this. Those can be signs to look out for. Someone who is continuously tired. Almost every moment you speak to this person, the person tells you, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. Someone who has a lot of irritability. That means they get upset or angry over things. Small things. And you're like, what happened? What did they just say to you? Why are you reacting that way? Someone who has outbursts of anger. Anger, and why does it appear like I'm emphasizing anger? Because anger is one major way that I have seen more common amongst us Nigerians to express mental distress. Unfortunately, we just see it as behavioral behavioral dysfunction. But most of the time, when people respond at that level, they are trying to tell you something is wrong. Something is wrong. And the only way they think they could give that information out is to break things, shout, speak in high tone, and then their blood pressure is rising up and down. But we have the other category. The ones who will go very quiet on you. The ones who wouldn't say anything. The ones who will go into their recluse. The ones who will lock up their doors and not talk. And then you have this other one, who would even use laughter, who will use facade, who will use, but when they get back into their room, they are crying. Do you know how many comedians have actually committed suicide? Oh, you may want to find out. Go into Google and check it out. You'll be shocked. We've had comedians who finished a show right now, as in finished a show, who was at the show, joking, making people laugh, everybody laughing. Then he left that show and went into his hotel room and he went to commit suicide. Suicidal ideation. I've had people say to me, hey, but when you even suspect, or when someone tells you that, oh, what do you then do? How do you help? Some would say, I'm even afraid to ask. I'm suspecting that the woman reached out to me and said, I'm suspecting that my son is having suicidal ideation because he was posting some things on social media, like the dark cloud. He was posting things, and that's another place to check. Okay, the social media people. A lot of young people, particularly who commit suicide, they usually communicate on social media. They communicate it. Most victims of suicide will let people know they want to commit suicide. It is just unfortunate that people don't listen to them. It's quite unfortunate that people think they're just acting out or they are looking for attention. And I said to this woman, okay, if you do this, why don't you then ask your son? And she, hey, how do I ask him? What do I ask? If someone tells you, I'm tired, I'm just so tired of life, I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed, maybe it's even better to just die, right? You don't need to urge them. You know, the faith people now, the faith people will say, hey, I rebuke that for you in Jesus' name. Don't say that. No, don't say that to them. Because once you go that pathway, they start struggling with this thought that is coming to my mind is a sin. And when they start struggling with that, that means they won't talk to you anymore because they start thinking, I'm a sinner by even thinking this way. Now, you want them to be helped. That's what you want. So you need to engage further. You need to ask more questions. You need to be able to say to the person, oh, really? You're feeling overwhelmed? You're feeling tired? To the point of wanting to end it all? The person says, oh, yes, I just want to end it all. Go further and ask. Okay, how will you end it? how do you think you can end it? If the person can give you a method, if the person says something like, oh yeah, maybe I'll just take sniper one day, or maybe I will just use a rope and hang myself. Maybe, oh, okay, really? That's interesting. So do you know where they sell sniper? If the person answers you, I don't know, I'm just thinking. Or you ask the person, oh, do you have a way to kill yourself? And the person says, no, not really. It's not like I want to die. You know that could be a safe one. You know that person might not be high risk. But if the person can give you a method they want to use and possibly even give you where to find that method, that is already what we call moderate risk. That person needs help. And that person is telling you. So what will you do? How to be alert to these warning signs? What you can do. If someone tells you are better off without me, you need to encourage them to seek help. You might not be the right person to help them. You might not even have the capacity because you yourself, you are even afraid, okay? But you can tell them to seek help. You can even go further and look for the help for them and connect them to this help, even when they are not asking for it. Because I've had people who say to me, oh, does someone has to ask for the help before? If you suspect someone is being suicidal, they don't need to tell you or ask you to get them help. You get the help, you drop the flyer for them, send the numbers to their phone, just push it to them consistently. The reason is because the day they would decide to contact that help, you may not even know. They might even tell you initially that I don't need this. What do you mean by this? It's better to be safe than to be sorry. Tell them much more of how you love them and how you were there for them, okay? And involve others as much as you need to. Now, the emotional influences. My time is almost up, so I just want to go through this. But this is important because this is not about you and every loved ones you have. We've talked about the psychosocial influences, the mind, the personality of the person, the society, the family, the background, the environment, the schools. Okay, now the emotions. When we talk about these emotions, we're going more into what makes resilience there for you. What could help you if you are the one struggling yourself, you are the one going through all these negative thoughts. What would you do differently? One of the key things, like the provost mentioned earlier, and talked about my own experience with abuse and trauma growing up. And of course, it got to the point where I was suicidal. Okay. Of course, I also had made, not just even having suicidal ideations, I had attempted suicide itself. And many times it helps to understand that if there were some things in place, as at that time, the person who is having these suicidal ideations might be better helped. My struggle came from sexual abuse. My struggles came from death of a parent. My struggles came from destabilization and general fact that low self-esteem, so many problems and all of that. But like I said, of course, many other people, and that's why this story is not unique. Many other people have gone through worse situations. Okay, I was abused from the age of 7. We've had people who were abused at younger ages, so that, and who had to endure sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, whatever it is. But what would determine your ability to stand the pressure of your mind, to still be healthy, even though your mind is going through all of this? 1, emotional hygiene. The same way we have physical hygiene. Remember, if you want to be healthy, you need to take care of your body. You need to have your bath. You need to brush your teeth. If you're not brushing your mouth and you are keeping mouth odor for days, germs are going into your system. You need to clean your hairs. You need to do exercise. You need to clean your space. You need to wash your clothes. You can't be wearing dirty clothes all the time and think you won't get ill or sick at some point. Physical hygiene. Same way we have emotional hygiene. Things to do to keep your mind healthy. Then understanding that your emotional bleeding, like I said, where you're going through whatever emotions or trauma you've gone through, emotional wound. And I told you earlier, the mind doesn't forget. I told you earlier, trauma is embedded. Trauma comes in different forms. Trauma is real, okay? Don't say, oh, that thing happened to me, oh, when I was 50 years old, I was a child. Oh, yeah, you were a child, but if you think about it, how come you still remember? How come your daughter is saying to you she wants to go to a uncle's house to sleep overnight and you are reacting, even though it's over 50 years? Because when you were at her age, an uncle raped you. So this is 50 years later, you are reacting, telling you the mind still remembers. So it is important that you're able to identify all of this. And if you're not sure, go into therapy. See, I always admonish or encourage that you should go into therapy the same way you go in for medical examination. Some of us has doctors booked on a yearly basis that you just go for general checkup, even when you are not sick. That is the same way going in to meet a psychotherapist or a mental health expert, a psychiatrist, a counselor, whichever one you are comfortable with. You must periodically sign up yourself to have a mental health assessment done on you. Check out how healthy you are. Of course, beyond that also, we have the emotional first aid. That means when things happen, what are the immediate resilience tools that you can hold on to? What level of emotional support do you have? And that takes us into this, your hygiene tip. Your feelings, negative and positive emotions. Emotions are amazing in itself, okay? Emotions include anger, joy, the way you're feeling per time. Now, the truth is there is no bad emotions. All emotions are good. The reason is because they are communicating something. Emotions are saying to you, if you find yourself being hungry, it is telling you something is wrong. If you find yourself being fearful, it is telling you something is wrong. Okay? If you find yourself being anxious, it is telling you something. Every emotion is telling you something. All right? And so we should move from the part of, oh, that's a bad emotion. I shouldn't be having this kind of emotion. No. Rather, what you want to pay attention is, what is this emotion saying to me? What is it telling me to do? How do I deal with that thing it's telling me? Healthy habits that you could also take on include challenging unhealthy thinking patterns. I always say this to my clients. There is no problem with you overthinking, especially those who say, oh, I worry a lot. Oh, I think a lot. It's fine. It's okay. Remember, I talked about your personality earlier, because some personality are more prone to thinking and overthinking, yes, than some other personality. So if you find yourself being a thorough person, you're this kind of person that always wants things to be well, properly done, you might be a melancholy, all right? And in many cases, because the way your brain works is proper, in total, order, that could make you think and overthink. Oh, this has not happened. This has to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. The easiest way to manage overthinking or worrying, okay, is not to stop worrying. Yes, because I know what you've had over time is stop worrying. You worry too much. And you yourself are telling yourself that too. But that is more or less you fueling it. Because your mind will start questioning, why should I stop worrying? When the things have not worked out, then I need to keep worrying. But this is the basic way we can deal with that. That is, create a specific worry time and stick to it. If you're going to allot 30 minutes in a day to worry, create it. Tell yourself specifically, maybe you are the kind that wakes up early in the morning, or you're the one that wakes up, or you go to bed late at night. Are you a night crawler or a early bird? Whichever one you are. Or you are a midday person. Tell yourself, okay, within the day, I want to create my own worry time, and that will be 20 minutes. Depends on how much time you want to give to it. It's your choice. When you create that, what are you doing? You are controlling it, because you are the one not giving it specific time. You are the one saying, my worry time is going to be between 7:30 at night and then 8 p.m. When I do that, afterwards, I go to sleep. So when thoughts start coming in, invading thoughts, intrusive thoughts during the day, you kept telling the thought, so rather than you trying to push it away, no, I don't want to think about you. You say to the thought, no, just hold on. I'll think about you at 7:30 p.m. Or just hold on. I'll think about you at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Depending on whatever time. Some of it, you can even carry a jotter and write it down. And so don't worry, I'll think about you. Oh, my son that is in the university, how will he survive? don't worry, I'll think about it at 8 p.m. today. Or I'll think. So when you create a specific worry time, it helps you to be in control of how the worrying is affecting your life, rather than you saying, I'm totally throwing it away. That's just one. There are several ways, okay? There are several ways. So, but stop ruminating and just going through everything again and again. Write it down, give yourself a worry time, get accountability partners. Those are healthy habits that you can create that can help you with your emotions. Emotional pain. For this one, you need to practice self-care. And the utmost on all self-care routine, like I always tell everyone, is sleep. You need to be able to prioritize that. I know I could have someone in the audience right now saying, hey, but I oversleep already, because oversleeping can also be a sign of mental struggle. When someone who is sleeping, it could be a sign to tell you something is wrong, okay? But when we're talking about those who are not even able to sleep at all. So you must be able to have a healthy sleeping pattern, okay? When you practice self-care. Self-care also means you being conscious of the fact that you matter. Think of what you want, not what every other person wants, not you sacrificing yourself for everybody. There is lack of money in the land. There is financial problems. And you are big on, oh, okay, I need to I need to make this provision for this person. I need to care for my uncle, my auntie, my brother, my sister, my father, what about you? Who is taking care of you? If you don't take care of you, nobody will. And so sometimes you might call it selfishness, you might call it self-centeredness, but maybe sometimes you need a level of that to be able to get into that place where you're emotionally balanced, reviving your self-worth. And that takes us into these habits that we need to master, which is one, sleep. Okay, you need to prioritize sleep. The minimum anyone should sleep, minimum should be 6 hours. The brain is amazing. The way it is built, the brain goes through a lot of emotional wounds, a lot of stress, because it carries it's like the machine that carries your whole body. Now, every time you're able to sleep, what happens is that the brain heals itself. Okay, so when you don't sleep, the brain is continually being wounded. I'm trying to use layman's language so that you could all get and understand how this works out. So sleep is not luxury. It is important for you as one of your emotional hygiene. Prioritize sleep. Make sure you can averagely sleep 6-7 hours. If you are able to do that, what you're doing is you are allowing your brain that has gone through a lot of stress yesterday. You had to shout, you had to get angry, you had to be sad at one point, you had to worry at one point. All of those things had already had impact on your brain. You've allowed the brain to heal itself. And then you get up again to the next day. Dieting is another one. Being able to make sure, and you see the word there, balanced and colorful. Many times, many of us take too plain foods. Plain. If what you are eating is always just plain, one color, see, dieting is good. Hey, I'm watching my weight. It's very good, okay? But we have seen also that many times, especially for young people, they get into that routine of, oh, I'm watching my weight. I don't want to be too big. I don't want to be this, there. And in that process, they begin to eat out of diet. So eat healthy. Good, colorful. Green should be in your food. Red, like tomato. Green, like lettuce, like vegetables. Brown, like beans. White, like eggs. Make sure your food is colorful. Then you're going healthy. And then eat in proportion. There are some people where they're emotionally down, they go eating. They eat when they're emotionally stressed. They use food as support. If you know yourself, that is what you've been doing, then you need to get help also for that, okay? Because that is not healthy. But we're talking about healthy diet. We're talking about you eating in a good proportion. You can say, oh yeah, I had, you are not missing food. Some people would remember they've not eaten at the end of the day. I'm not eating today. No, you shouldn't be like that. Put it on a timetable. If it's twice in a day you want to eat, put it on it. Set reminders. There was a time I had to do that personally. I had to set reminders to tell me you've not eaten, you need to eat. So time heat. So not because, like I tell people, I eat not because you know, I enjoy food or the taste of food. Like I eat because I know it is a necessity. If it is possible for a human being to survive without food, maybe I will be one of such people. But food is important for us and also for our mental health. There are some basic food that has also been said to be good to help the mind. All right. One of such food I always recommend is if you can eat banana fruit, the banana. Banana is very, very high in giving us some level of serotonin, okay, which is what we call the happiness hormone. All right. It helps you. Look at monkeys. Okay, look at monkeys. Monkeys are always jumpy, always excited, always you know, everywhere. And you are wondering, where do they get this energy from? Okay, maybe it's the excessive and continuous eating of bananas. Yes, that's just a joke anyway. But really, it's also a pointer to something. Okay, bananas could be very good. There are other ones also. I know drinking of water also, taking a lot of water. Tiger nuts, whether the seed or the milk, is also very good. Watermelon. Okay, those are food that you can put into your diet that can really begin to help your mind. Exercise is another key one, okay, that you need to farm. Sometimes people have made exercise look like it has to be something big or huge. You need to go to the gym. No, you don't need all that. Even right in your house, every day, carry your feet up. Sit down where you are sitting, where you are sitting. Move your body. And that's why I recommend dancing. If you are with me right now and you can see me, if your video is on, you may want to join me for the next 1 minute, 2 minutes, and just dance. I will be glad to see you. If you heard, okay, good. Thank you. Good one. Just go. Go this way, right? Go this way. Yes, dance with me. Good one. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Provost. Good one. Good. Now, can you see? You are dancing. You are smiling for no reason. Why are you laughing now? No reason. For no reason. That is how powerful dance is. Okay? You would realize that if you're driving, sometimes when I'm driving in the traffic and in Nikeja, I'm moving in my steering, I'm just booging it down, and you're there. Other people are angry that if there is traffic, you are busy dancing in the car. Okay? Other people are angry that, oh, there's no money in the account, you are busy moving your body. What you're doing when you move, okay, is a natural way of boosting serotonin. Those are ways that without you, these are things that doctor gives antidepressant for. I tell you, if you have even a victim going through depression, get the person to dance. Let them dance in the morning. I give my clients the dance routine like medicine. I recommend it. I give them a time in the morning to dance, time in the afternoon, and time in the evening. It's always amazing. The feedback I've had a client look for me after more than 5 years, just to tell me that the dance routine I taught her, she still does it with her daughters, and they are all doing well. This was a suicidal client. This was a client that was at the point of death. Okay, but dancing is so powerful because it tells it's like a way of deceiving your mind, because your mind is like, why are you dancing? And you believe, oh, except everything is okay, why will you dance? So that means you try to use your body to communicate something to your mind and say, even though things are bad, I choose what is going to happen. And dancing is one fantastic way to get that. So please, even if you can't exercise or whatever, move your body in a dance. Some people have also said, oh, do I need music? If you have music, fine. If you don't have, today, now we just dance. We didn't have music. There is a music in your heart. Just dance to the music in your heart. You don't need to have any sound. Just move your body in a rhythm. Okay? It's as basic as that. And it keeps you mentally healthy. Mindfulness and relaxation. This is where you do mindfulness. Most times you might need a therapist or someone to teach you how to do mindfulness. But the basic way I can explain it to you is on a daily basis. At the end of the day, take your journal and write down one thing you are grateful for that day. Every day. Or you're on your bed and you're about to sleep. Before you shut your eye, Just go think and say, what was it? As bad as everything went today, what is one thing I can appreciate today? Find it. Then try much, you know. Of course, those who are spiritual, like I said, you cannot detach all of these things. The body, the spirit, and the soul. The spiritual is also very important to our mental health. All right. So you need to connect to your spiritual core. And that's why those who have either a faith of Christianity or Islam, whatever faith you belong to, this period, this time might be a time for you to look into that much more. Okay. And lastly, positive energy. Positive energy. I always say that if you cannot feel it within you, use the external to get it in. Do not disconnect from people. One major thing your mind will struggle with, okay, that would happen again and again, is isolation. It wants to isolate you. And so that's the major place where you need to battle it. Once you can fight isolation, once you can be an husband and say, the aim of this thing is to make me alone. Loneliness, to keep you alone. Because once you become alone, once you start being alone, nobody understands. Nobody would even understand. Even if I tell them, they won't understand. I felt that too. That was my major, in fact, for me, that was the main angle to my own depressive thoughts then. I keep it, no matter what you explain to people, they won't understand. They won't understand. And even when you try to explain, they won't still understand. So they don't care. You come to conclusions, they don't care. But you know what helped me was when I had to say to myself one day, and that's, if they don't understand me, can I try to understand them? And so I changed the narrative from I want you to understand me to I want to understand you. I began more involved in other people. And this I always say to people who are struggling with emotional distress, whatever it is you're going through, try to look for somebody else who is suffering. The more you help somebody else, okay, the more you're actually helping yourself also. So don't disconnect. If the people in your life are not helping you, fine. You can let them go, but look for other people. There are people who also still need you, even at the level of mess that you are in. Okay? When you can look for an orphanage, sometimes I recommend going to an orphanage visit to some of my clients, and it's amazing the result they get. Go and visit people in the hospital. Go, just come out of your own pain and see other people's pain. If you can do that, you are also creating healthy habits for yourself. So in overall, we said reach out, don't keep quiet. I've told you that. Seek therapy. Seek therapy. The people have said, oh, I don't know, they are counselors. You're speaking to one. There are so many counselors. Even in the meeting we had today, I'm sure there are many counselors here with us today, because I've had to announce this meeting in our counselors group, and many of them are also here with us. There are counselors in Lagos, in Ibadan, in Abuja, in every part of Nigeria. There are counselors there. If you don't know, still yet you don't know how to get one, look for ADI. We will get you a counselor. There are counselors everywhere, please. And I'm sure those who also, because I know that some of us, you might have gone through some life experiences. You want to start using it to help other people. You want to become a counselor yourself, and you're wondering, how do I become a counselor? How do I use what I know to help other people? ADI also would help you. That's my organization, the one we call Attitude Development International. That's what we do. We have a college, ADI College of Counseling and Psychotherapy, where we run both master's program, diploma program, certificate program, all about mental wellness, counseling, psychotherapy, trauma healing, basic things that can begin to help us as a community and to help others. So finally, I have this quick assessment for you. Just check it out in 2 minutes. I'm going to do 2 slides. This is one here. Look at it quickly. Just scan through my screen right now. Which of this do you find yourself feeling? Have you recently experienced any of this? Just pick maybe number 2, number 3, number 4. Just write down the numbers. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 seconds. I'm moving to the next slide. 30 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Check this. Just pick the numbers. Where do you find yourself struggling? Any of this? Have you recently been finding yourself busy, extremely busy, and just occupied? There's no space for you at all. Check it out. Have you felt that life isn't worth living? Have you found yourself wishing you were dead and away from all of it? Okay. If you looked at my 2 questions, 2 slides, I mean, and you've checked out this 28th question, let me go to the previous one again. Just 1 second. Look at it again. You've been feeling perfectly well and in good health. You've been feeling in need of a good tonic. You've been feeling run out and out of sort. You felt that you're healed. You've lost much sleep, over worrying. You've been hedgy. You've been bad-tempered. Feeling nervous. Check out the second slide. Have you been thinking of yourself as a worthless person? What have you been thinking? What's been your struggle? Okay, now, if you find yourself answering yes or more to 4 or more of any of this question, you need to go into therapy ASAP. As soon as possible. If as soon as today, you need to book a session with someone. If you find that out of all of these questions, 28 of them, 4 of it you said yes to, then you need to get into therapy. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I hope we've learned something today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to coach us this far. And I'm sure the floor is going to be open now for questions and answers. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wow, thank you very much, Ma. I can see the comments dropping in the chat box. I can see affirmations. I can see the round of applause. I can see all the confirmations. I can see the response to the assessment, and it's been interesting. And so many people, I can't thank you enough. Wow, thank you so much, Ma. This has been thought-provoking, and I know I'm going away with a whole lot. Like, I have 2 sheets full of so much, and I can bet we have so many people going away with so much as well. And I'm sure some people still have questions. Some have areas they would like to confirm. Please, could you kindly drop your questions in the chat box? If you have comments, questions, you can use your virtual fingers or your virtual hands, and we'll call on some people. We may not be able to call on everybody, but we'll call on some people. And for those on YouTube, you can drop your questions, comments, suggestions. Please drop them in the group chat. I would like to recognize, just briefly, I would like to recognize the presence of our very own Dr. Alera Roberts, and that's the chairman of the College Council, and Engineer Adebaju as well of the CSCC Council. Our immediate past provost, Dr. Martin Obinya, is also with us, present. Thank you very much for joining us, for taking out time out of your busy schedule to join us. I'd also like to recognize the presence of Professor Olujide Adekeye. That's the Vice President, Association of Professional Counselors in Nigeria, APROCON. He's the current DVC, Covenant University, Ota. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Professor Gospel Fair, National President,
Nigerian Association of Educational Administration and Planning. Thank you very much, sir, for taking out time of your busy schedule to join us. Also, we noticed that we had some people had network challenges. Don't worry, you will not be missing anything. We can promise you that. All you just need to do is go to our YouTube page. We are streaming live on YouTube, but you can also access this session on YouTube after this. Don't worry, you have no cause to panic. Even if network has probably taken you out a couple of times, you're not missing anything. You can catch up on YouTube. So we'd like to go to the questions. Dr. DK, would you please do us the honors by getting the questions on the various platforms? And please don't forget, you can also speak. Just let's indicate with your virtual hands. You can find it on the reaction icon on your screen, and then we'll call upon you to speak. But before then, Dr. DK, please, can you help us with some of the questions?
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. One, we have Olumide Jimo is asking, can alcohol help to dose emotional trauma? It does for some people. So this is my observation though, but what's your observation? That's first one.
Okay. Should we take it one after the other?
Yes, but if you have questions, please, if you have questions, you can drop on the chat box, or you can also indicate by raising your virtual hands that we can call you one after the other. Please, we may not take everybody. We only take only 2 or 3. Then others you can drop on the chat box. Please, if you have questions. Anybody? We have only one, which I've read out.
Okay, while we're waiting for other one, can I go ahead with the one that we have already?
Yes, please, ma, you can.
Okay, good. Yes, so a good question of can alcohol actually help to deal with some of these issues? And that some people use it. The truth is this, like I told you earlier, the mind doesn't know the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. Pain is pain. And no man can be able to sustain or survive in the place of pain for a long period of time. So naturally, you start looking for how to ease your pain. It's just like we've been sitting now for almost 2 hours. Okay, that's why I asked us to do the dancing, because another thing it does is helps blood circulation. Some of us have stood up, you've walked around, you've moved, done one thing or the other, because we cannot be in a place of pain for too long. The same thing with this pain, the emotional pain we're talking about. So naturally, people look for other things. People look for alcohol to use it to repress this pain. People look for even sex to repress pain. People look for gambling, games, distractions. People use movies. People use food. People use different things. Whatever comes handy. There is a spectrum that we use to define things people use, okay, to get into. People use even spirituality. People use spirituality to get out of pain. They start going, you see somebody that is having marital problem, and the next thing is church. All the prayer meeting in life is because he doesn't want to go home because there's fire at home. Spirituality. Some will carry by, pray. Sometimes when we begin to put it out to them, that you were having pain, but you were using something to repress your pain. Now, the bad thing about it, and that's why I won't say to you whether alcohol is good or not, because remember I said, they are using it. When you see people who is taking alcohol, is using it to repress something. But the problem is that when this thing you are using to repress a pain now begins to control you. Now, that's the major thing. you're trying to repress a pain, but the thing you're using now becomes another problem, because alcohol has effect on the liver, on the system. Alcohol has effect on your cognition. Alcohol, not even just alcohol, a lot of drugs. People begin to do substance abuse. Some, even as basic as paracetamol, can be abused. Someone will tell you they're having emotional pain, but because they cannot, someone who is having a panic attack, and the next thing is taking paracetamol all the time. You ask them, you took paracetamol in the morning, afternoon. Some people take it so much now that even if you ask them, was it a doctor that recommended that, they'll tell you, no, I just take it. I just take it. That has become an abuse. And what was supposed to be a help now becomes an addiction. Now, that's why when we go to the pattern of addiction building, and when it becomes an addiction, it now becomes another secondary trauma, another problem, because it now negatively impacts on that person, possibly the health or the finances of that person, the time of that person, even jobs of that person. It also now begins to have ripple effect on other people around them. For example, someone who takes a lot of alcohol, the children can learn from it. The children there could be disorientation at some point. There could be times when the person can go violent because they might have repressed their emotions so well that they are not even conscious sometimes of some things they do. So that is why we would discourage using external influence for a long time, whether alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. You have used it, but you need to be able to stop it. You need to be able to control that. And that is why it's important to deal with the pain, deal with the issue, not the symptoms. I hope I answered that question, sir. Whoever asked that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We have more questions. Then thereafter, I will call Oluwakemi Aladenusi to speak.
Okay.
But hold on, Oluwakemi. We have one from Olanike. He said, pain is pain. The question is, if living or staying with someone causing or bringing pain to you, what do you do, or how do you cope with this? That's one. We have another one. Okay, Silas Maxwell. How can I become professional counselor to be mentor something? Okay. Then we have another one from Ebenezer Oje. Are there avenues where professional counselors reach out to churches, mosques, or other public places with this crusade on emotional health? I think we have that. These are the two on the chat box. Then let me call.
Repeat that last one.
Okay, the last one is, are there avenues where professional counselors reach out to churches, mosques, and other public places with this crusade of emotional health?
Okay.
Okay. Then we now have another one. Okay, let me call Oluwakemi Aladenusi to ask his or her question. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon. I'm so
Yes,
happy I am part of this lecture. Madam, thank you very much. I enjoyed every bit of it. And from my own perspective, it seems as if we all need to do assessment of our mental health.
Oh, yes. Every one of us needs it.
So everybody, going through those questions, there is no way one will not. So my question is this, please, if we want to book a session, I mean, how do we go about it? Can you drop us phone numbers or addresses of places where we can visit to get our mental health assessed?
Oh, okay.
That is. Then another.
Okay.
If you have people around you, maybe your place of work or even in your home, and some of the things to look out for that you have mentioned, and how can we then move closer to the person and help? That I'm sorry, I noticed or I observed that you are displaying certain behaviors. Don't you think it's time to seek for help? I mean, in this part of our nation. I think some people may even look at you and say, I mean, what is wrong with you? Or you are trying to, confess something negative on them. And
to me. Okay, let me take you from that last one, Ma. Let me take you from that one. And that is the fact that the truth is many times people who need help, they don't usually reject it that way. Okay? Once you show that concern, usually what happens is they go on to tell you or they move away from you. They won't fight you for asking. When you have someone who is saying, oh, why are you asking me that kind of question? Why are you? Usually it's just a sign to tell you back off. So we always say this, people who need help, because you really cannot help somebody who does not need help. Some people have so much taking comfort or consolers in their mental pain, okay, that even when you want to get them out of it, they would rather drag you into the pain too. So what does that mean? Not everybody can be helped. Even though you can see that the person is in pain, your own is to reach out. That's your own. And that's the barrier we need to break. Once you can have the boldness to look at someone and say, oh, I don't know, in case you are going through anything, I want you to know that I'm available. Here's my contact. That's all. You leave the person will reach out to you on their own. You'll be shocked. It might not be on the immediate, but because you let the person know, I am available if you ever need someone to talk to, or you're going through anything, and the person says, no, I'm not going through anything. No problem. I know. I'm just saying, if you ever need someone to talk to, I might be there for you. But if afterwards you notice that the person is still maybe it's someone that is close to you enough that you can actually insist that, oh yeah, there is a problem. Oh yeah, there is a problem. You just need to get contact and send to the person. So which takes me to the second one, where you ask, where do we get this help, the contact or assessment and all. I usually try to avoid telling people, oh, go and check online, because I've seen that when people go online and they do some of this mental health assessments online and they see the result, they become so scared, and then they cannot even, it then leads on to ripple effects of problems. So I usually recommend go to a counselor. A counselor is the basic level you can start from. That's if you cannot you can't find a psychiatrist, or you are so afraid of, because I know that our people, as part of our culture, when they hear psychiatrist, they are thinking, hey, that means I have mental health problem. That means I'm mad. Or no. That's why we have different levels of help. All right. If you go to a counselor, at least if that's a word that's comfortable for you, just make sure the person is a professional. Just make sure it's not just somebody who is trained or who is self-acclaimed counselor. Make sure it's somebody who is a trained, certified counselor who has been taught. In fact, I tell clients, you have a right to ask your counselor, once you get in, ask the person for their qualification. In the Western world here, you put your qualifications in your office on the wall. When a client comes in, they must know which association you belong to, what level of degrees you have. So it's not hidden, okay? If a counselor cannot work with you, maybe because your issues are, you think that you have a right to change counselors. You don't have to stay with them, okay? So that is on one side. If you're now looking for these counselors, like I told you, there are several counselors now, okay, practicing counselors, not just, okay, the person says he's a counselor. No, we mean professionally trained and practicing. That's what we do at ADI, basically. Anyway, we train professional counselors and we promote counseling. So ADI is an acronym for Attitude Development International. You could Google that. Our contacts are available there too. You could check it out. You could reach out. Once you reach out, we book you up, even as well as people who cannot afford to pay for professional counseling. We have support system for such people as well. All right, because we have a school where people graduates, that's previous graduates, professionals, in whatever field come in to take a PGD concept kind of program. So these are mature students who also have been trained in the art of counseling for averagely a year. They have their advanced diploma. They can sit with you, okay, and work with you, with the individual knowing that, okay, yes, this is not yet a certified counselor. There's a counselor in training under supervision. But those are mediums where people who cannot even afford to pay for therapy can also get therapy. So there's no excuse of, oh, I can't afford therapy, it's too expensive. There are provisions available for that. So I hope I answered your two questions, ma.
Very well, ma. Very, very well. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you. You can also look out for me. My name is Timi Oyebode. You'll find it on social media, on every platform, and I would definitely, even after the program, attend to you.
Okay, ma. Thank you
You
very
can send me a DM directly if you want me to link you up with somebody specific.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
All right. So the question Sir had asked, I said there's someone that has asked how to get away from toxic people, or you are in a place where they are not helping you. I said that earlier too, that if you are, I know that it might be difficult, especially if you are living, you are dependent on those people. That means financially, maybe like your parents, your uncle or relatives, they are the one giving you shelter or food and all. You can't just go away from them, and they are adding to your mental stress, okay? You need to learn some internal resilience. Some of those things we've talked about today, using sleep, good food, exercise, dancing, getting into therapy. Those are things that will build your internal resilience. But beyond that also, you also possibly need to get yourself possibly out of it. If you are with negative people, you might need to get out of it so that you could help yourself better. So find out how possible that could be. If you need to change the location, if you need to take a break for a period of time, or just say, oh, I'm going to so persons for a month or 2 weeks or something, take periodic breaks like that. It might help you. So when you come back, you've gather enough stamina again to withstand it. But this is what I always say, especially when it comes to teenagers, and they tell me, oh, because the person is your financier, the person is your parent, the person, you can't run away from them forever, right? Know that every person has a hold over you just for a period of time. A period of time. Keep telling yourself, if you're 16 now, by the time you are 20, you might be probably out of that house. If you are 17, if you are 14 or thereabouts, you are going to go into the university. You're going to not be at home all the time. So always remembering that every situation is temporary. There is a time it will change, and I would be able to have more control over my time, my life. What that you are with them now is not going to be permanent. It's not going to be forever. So that's for those who really are dependent. For people who are mature, okay, and you are living with people who are negative, you need to get help. You need to find your way out. Think of a solution. Speak to other people. If you are in the church or in the mosque, seek support from elsewhere. There are also NGOs that might help you. Lagos State has some programs for single mothers. There's support system out there that you might need to get that could get you accommodations outside of that place. So speak out and talk to somebody and be able to help yourself. I'm saying this thinking of maybe women going through domestic violence or men going through domestic violence. Okay, you don't have to endure it. The more you stay in that situation, the more your mental health is going to be affected. Okay, the other question is how to be a counselor. Yes, I told you at ADI College of Counseling and Psychotherapy, we run certificate courses, we run diploma, we run advanced diploma, and presently we are affiliated to a university in the US that we run a master's program, okay, in professional counseling, covering 3 major scopes for now, right? Which is mental health counseling, marriage and family therapy, and then children and teenage counseling. So if you want to be a professional counselor into the marriage space, you want a master's, you can only go for master's if you've had a previous degree in counseling anyway. So, but reach out to us, send an email, adhinigeria@gmail.com, yes. or just go to our website, that's adi.com.ng. Okay, so, or just go, social media would help you. Just go and look for ADHI College of Counseling, ADHI Active Development International. You will find us and we can begin to help you on that pathway to professional counseling. I say this also for many who are degree holders. Okay, you've had your degree in the university, maybe in guidance and counseling or psychology, but you don't know how to process. The reason is because the universities presently focuses on the theories. At ADHI College, the focus is on practice. Okay, so even if you have had your degree before, it is good and healthy for you to come in. Even if it's a 3-month program you can come in for, that gives you, you will learn how to all the basics of engagement, all the skills. We now put the theories into practical for you. Understand how to use person-centered theory, the solution-focused theory, Adlerian theories, the CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy. All of these theories are now being practically used. And then you are given hours where you must have one-on-one sessions with clients. Okay, before you are even taught how to go and open your counseling center, if that is what you want, or how to get a job as a counselor. So please, you can reach out to us and you get that. And then someone had asked of avenues to reach out, maybe to the spiritual places for the crusade. Yes, there are various avenues now, okay? From various associations, we do that. Once you reach out to us, we will tell you, because we do a lot of outreaches. We go to churches, we go to mosques, we go to programs, okay, to raise awareness about counseling, mental health, and mental wellness, right? So if you reach out to us, we may be in your space to be able to help physically or online, just like this also. Above that also, you can join the various associations. There are counseling associations now that are actively engaging the community. That is CASON, for example. ANEPCO is another one. That's African Network of Professional Counselors. Okay, actively engaging. I know also of APROCON, okay, actively engaging. So whichever one you want. There is also the Christian Counselors Association in Nigeria here, actively engaging. So whichever one, okay, you can get into, it could help you to build these outreaches that we're talking about. I'm strongly going to talk about ANEPCO, that's the African Network of Professional Counselors, because it cuts across people in Nigeria, people in Cameroon, Ghana, counselors all over the space. We have counselors all over the space in there trying to support one another and then creating outreaches in various forms. So that is that. I think that's the last question. And I don't think we have any other question. And I would want to wrap if there's no other question. Is it okay if there's no other question? Sir, is there any other question, sir?
Oh, I don't think so. I think we covered all questions.
All right.
We took all the questions.
Sorry, just a minute, Tosin.
Yes, ma'am.
I saw someone's question come in as
Okay,
Dr.
ma'am.
Yebode was speaking. Someone sent in a question to the chat box.
Okay, the person just said.
Adebayo.
Oh, okay, Mr. Adebayo. Okay, the last question that came in was a thank you
So
for this wonderful lecture.
Please read it out.
Is it Thomas Adebayo?
Yes, please. I think he has to.
Yes, we have Thomas. Hello, Tosin.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thomas, we have about 2 more. Thomas Adebayo.
Yeah.
Okay.
What role does intercourse between married couples play in the issue of mental health, if at all there is any? This is the question. I think you have answered how to reach out to you. You have shared your personal contact and so on. I think that's the last question for the day. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. So intercourse, put it in plain language, sex. Sex has a lot to do with our mental health. And I would explain this in this context. And that's why we always talk about body, spirit, and soul. Body, spirit, and soul. Thank you for the person who asked that question. And I want you to know that when people are struggling sexually, maybe you have a partner who isn't giving you the best in bed, okay? Yes. It could be a sign that that person is even having their own struggle. And it could also be affecting you. Many people don't know the impact sex actually have on their overall health, not just mental health alone. Sex has impact on your spiritual health. That is why we talk about people who jump from one partner to the other partner, and a lot of spiritual connections, connectivity is going on. Sex has a lot on your physical health because it helps with blood circulation. It helps with heart pumping the right way. It helps with dealing with some illnesses, including things like headaches and all of that. It also could be a cause of illnesses and sicknesses, right? That is how powerful sex is. But this is something I always explain to people. Nobody has died because they didn't have sex. We have had loads of people dying because they had sex. And so what does that tell us? As important as sex is to our mental health, as important as sex is to our physical health, it is still something that should be under our control, not what should control us. So invariably, because sex is the only thing, in fact, I may not be able to go deep into that much because of time and because it's a whole topic on its own. Sex uses the three. It uses the mind, it uses the body, and uses the spirit. The three are involved when you have sex. And it's one major place where a lot of influence and decisions are being made. Even these financial problems we're talking about, if you look at it very well, and some of you know, a lot of people do sex rituals just to be able to have money. It tells you how powerful sex is. Some people would have sex with somebody and use the person's genitals organ for money. That tells you how powerful sex is. So I always say to couples, if you are married, happily married, make sure you're having sex. Make sure you're having sex. It helps your body, it helps your spirit, and it helps your soul. Now, sex is not only penetrative. It's not only penis inside vagina. No. Sex is much more than that. Sex is spiritual. Sex is deep. Okay? And if you're abstaining for a period, be aware that this is why you're abstaining. When you are having sex, I always recommend that try to make sure you are in one accord. When you are in one accord, even at the height of your ecstasies, when you're both ejaculating, whether the woman is having orgasm or the man is, whoever is, you actually can pronounce things together and it will come to pass, especially things that has to do with finances. Okay, but imagine you having your a wife which you have covenanted to at home, and then you are now having sex with another woman outside. You are already breaking the covenant and the rhythm of financial grace and successes. So there's a lot. That's why I said I won't want to go too deep into the sex angle. All right, especially of adultery and how much it impacts on your financial status. Now we're talking about Nigeria of today. Now we're saying there's no money in town, yet you are keeping extramarital affair because your wife at home is not giving you very well, or your husband is not giving you. There is no sex that doesn't involve money, whether physical money or spiritual money. Money is being traded off. Okay, and so we need to be mindful of this and understand how much power we are trading off. Yoruba will call adultery agbere, something that takes away your profits. So it's deep, okay? And so, sir, whoever has asked that question, if you are struggling sexually or your partner is, please get into therapy as soon as you can. You need sex for your mental health, you need it for your physical health, you need it for your spiritual health. Thank you. Did I, so that we can wrap up? I know our time is up.
Yes, you did well. Please, let's take for this last again. I think this person repeated the question. I'm sorry. If you can take it for just 2 minutes. I also ask if some personality types are more prone to mental issues. That's from Monsurat.
Yeah.
Then we have.
I explained that earlier. I did explain that. Yes, that some personalities are more. Okay, personalities are born out of your background, your experiences growing up, who you are, your encounters. Yes, so some personalities are more prone because some are not outspoken, some are more outspoken. So it depends on the personalities.
Thank you. Over to Tosin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
everyone.
much. Thank you very much, Dr. GK. Thank you very much, Dr. Timi Oyebade.
Thank you.
We would also like to recognize the presence of Professor John. Sorry about that. Okay, so Professor John Ude, that's the National Coordinator, Association of Educational Management and Policy Practitioners. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Madam Chairman Ma, that's Professor Mokwelola Olushaki. Would you like to share with us any last words, comments, suggestions, Ma?
Yes, it has been an interesting lecture. We want to thank Dr. Oyebode, all the way from Canada, for sharing with us not just what is happening in Nigeria, but all over the globe, and for making it to be so lucid to the extent that even a non-professional counselor can also understand what we are talking about. Thank you very much again. And those questions have also added to what we are doing, because from those questions and the answers given, we could also reach some other aspects that we were not able to touch because of time. I know that there are other things, other issues that people might want to ask questions about. Please feel free and contact the counselors around you, contact also Dr. Oyebode, and don't keep quiet. And when you see people who have such symptoms, please do referral if you cannot counsel them. But if you can, please counsel. But if you cannot, give them contact of a professional counselor. Once again, we want to thank the management of Corona School of Education, Corona College of Education, for the opportunity granted, not just us, but people who have joined and those who will still see this program on YouTube to learn more about mental health, which is very important in our Nigeria of today. Everyone is going through one mental health or the other, the high, the low, and whatever, the middle class. Thank you once again, everyone, and God bless.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we don't take so much of our time, I would like to call on the chairman LOC in the person of Mrs. Adenike Onofeso. That's the head of consults and the acting deputy provost, to take the vote of thanks. Ms. Onofeso, ma.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Good afternoon, dear esteemed guests, distinguished members of the Corona Schools Trust Council, respected chairman, Professor Mosun Olushaki, and our insightful guest lecturer, Dr. Timi Oyebode. On behalf of the provost, staff, and students of Corona College of Education, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to each of you for contributing to the success of today's public lecture. Your presence and participation have enriched our understanding of the psychosocial and emotional influences on mental wellness. Dr. Oyebode, your erudite presentation has enlightened us on the critical aspects of mental health. Your expertise and passion have inspired us to prioritize our well-being and seek support when needed. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experiences with us. Professor Olushaki, we appreciate your presence and contribution to the lecture. Your commitment to education and mental health is truly commendable. To our distinguished guests, your presence has graced this occasion, and your contributions to the discourse have been invaluable. We appreciate your dedication to the betterment of our society. I want to express my appreciation to the members of the local organizing committee for their efforts in making today's public lecture a huge success. God bless you. Let us continue prioritizing mental wellness and supporting one another in our collective journey towards a healthier and more compassionate Nigeria. Remember, you may not be able to control what is happening around you, but you can control what is happening inside you. Your mind is powerful and can control both your mental and physical health. Thank you all once again for your participation and engagement. May today's insights inspire positive change in our lives and communities. Please join me in offering a virtual applause to express our sincere appreciation to our great lecturer, chairman, and all participants. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Elusima, for the vote of thanks. Before we go, I would just like to remind us briefly, the Corona Schools Trust Council established the Corona College of Education in 2014, which means presently this year we are celebrating our 10th year anniversary. And Corona Schools Trust Council itself will be celebrating her 70th anniversary next year. So the real reason and the goal of the Trust Council was to raise a new breed of teachers for the Nigerian education sector. The college is accredited by the National Commissions for Colleges of Education, NCCE, and we run the Nigerian Certificate in Education, NCE, and the college is also accredited by the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, to mount the Professional Diploma in Education. The college has other postgraduate programs for first degree holders, such as the Professional Diploma in Education, Early Childhood Care and Education, and also the Professional Diploma in Leadership and Management. We also run other short duration courses, professional development courses for your professional and personal development. So you can follow us on our Instagram pages, on our Twitter page, now X, and also on our YouTube page to keep you informed of what we do. Kindly scroll through. For those that didn't join this public lecture, you can watch the recording on our YouTube page. You can also watch our past series as well on YouTube. Thank you very much for taking your time to join us. And I'm sure this lecture series, this public lecture series has been amazing, and we are going away with a lot. I can see so many people interested in being counselors in the comment section. I can see so many people looking forward to their personal assessments, especially after the 28 questions, the list of assessments that was dropped by Dr. Timi. Please do well to go for assessments. And I know that some HMOs cover, for those of us that have HMOs, please talk to your HMO. That's your health insurance provider. I'm sure that the cost can cover it, because I was waiting for that particular question to be raised, but nobody seemed to raise that question. So for those that are thinking of maybe cost of therapy or cost of actually getting therapy, you can talk to your HMOs. I know the government has the HMO plan, and I know most organizations now have HMO plans for their staff as well. So do well to talk to them, and please take your emotional, psychological, social mental health serious. It's really, really important. And look out for everyone around you, for your colleagues, for your friends, your church members. Please look out for everybody around you. Thank you very much once more. Would like to close this public lecture series with the closing prayer, which will be taken by our able librarian, Mr. Waid Abudu. Mr. Waid Abudu, please.
Okay. Also, we start with the basic in the name of Almighty Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, all praise and honor belongs to Almighty Allah. We talk Almighty Allah for the success of this public lecture. We pray for our guest speaker, Almighty Allah bless her and enrich her. We pray for all the participants, Almighty Allah bless us too, and enrich us and guide us. We also pray for the institution, Corona College of Education, Corona Trust Council, Almighty Allah bless Corona College of Education. Let the institution be growing, Almighty Allah. We pray for our dear country, Nigeria. Almighty Allah, bless our country, Nigeria. Let peace, unity reign in our country. We also pray for our leaders, Almighty Allah. Help them to lead, Almighty Allah. Amen. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mr. Waid, for the closing prayer. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you soon for our convocation lecture and our 10th anniversary lecture as well. And see you some other time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
you.